Hi there, welcome to the Teeny Tinkers channel. I make ball jointed doll and craft related content. Today I am attempting some Resin BJD eyes. This is my first time trying this, so if I make a lot of mistakes, please bear with me because I think they're to be expected. Seasoned die makers will probably see my first mistake right off the bat, and that's using eye bases from Thingiverse. These are really deep and really hard to fill and like a breeding ground for bubbles. Right now I'm just showing you some of the materials I'm going to use making these eyes. I didn't really know what to use, so I tried a couple different things, and I think it'll be fun to see what shows up really well and what doesn't. So I used gouache paints, watercolor pencils, pastels, and of course some of my favorite watercolor pens. The first thing I did was use pencils to just kind of make a circle around the lens. I just think that this kind of keeps everything in a little better, maybe. I just thought it was a good idea, and I don't know, should I have done this? Who knows? Of course, when you look close up, it does look quite chalky, so I think in the future I would have used gouache paints for this or watercolor markers. The first eye base I did with chalk pastels. I actually liked this effect the best, and moving forward, this is probably what I would stick to as the base. I just found it had a really soft, natural look, very realistic, and something more you'd see. Yeah, it looks really plain here, but it comes together later, don't worry. The next ones I did with the watercolor markers. I did more greens and yellows in this one, and this was my second favorite. It definitely had the most intense color, but it wasn't too much, and it blended really, really well. I did the next ones with the watercolor pencils, and this came out really not great. I did end up going in at the end with a wet watercolor brush just to try and blend things out better, because you could really tell it was pencils. It did not look very nice. I wouldn't use these in the future for this part of the process. Yeah, oof, muddy, not great, not good. And then finally I used gouache paints. The pros were it was very quick and easy to get coverage, but the cons were this is a runnier paint, so of course it was hard to kind of get colors to stay where you wanted them to. For fantasy eyes or for one solid color, I think that this would be a fantastic option though, because the pigment is definitely there. So here's what they look like at that layer. I let them dry for a couple minutes, and then I go in with some pencils and just give them these really sweet little lines throughout. I just find this kind of pulled things together and again added to that realism. I added in the pupils with black gouache paint. This worked really well. I think something like a bead might work better, but I didn't have any on hand, so I just used the gouache. At this stage, I was really happy with how things were looking though. I don't own any glitter or mica powder or cute little gems. I did have the remnants of this super questionable glitter palette with these like pigmented glitters, I guess. I don't know if this is like good for the resin or anything. I would never use this in a face up, but since I'm sealing it in resin, I figured it couldn't be the end of the world. It did not end up as pigmented as I thought, but it did add just a little bit of shine, which I did like. So I think I would get actual mica powder or glitter in the future though. I'm not entirely sure what to use. Like I said, I just winged it. So for the resin on top, I know a lot of people use, I think like a 2-part UV epoxy resin. I'm not sure, but I had transparent 3D print resin. I know this is probably all wrong, but I dripped it in just like this. Drip, drip, drip. This was super satisfying and fun though. This is probably my favorite bit. Also, if you're working with resin, please wear gloves. Just a note from me. And I use this little like toothpicky thing, you'll see in a second, to kind of just swirl the resin around. I don't know if this did anything, but the intention was to get out any air bubbles. Look at them at this point, especially that second pair and the first pair. I think they look great. I really love them. Unfortunately, you'll see something in the curing process with how deep these wells are. Ooh, bubble. Just really, something happened. If anyone knows what happened, like probably a lot happened, but if anybody knows, please tell me, because at this point, that second pair was giving me life. Like, I was so impressed with myself. So I put them in the curing machine for 20 minutes. Yes, it needs a clean. Don't come for me. But yeah, 20 minutes was all they need, and they weren't sticky or tacky, and they came out looking like this. So again, they don't look too bad on the tray. I mean, they don't look great, but they don't look too bad. But you'll see in a second, when I put them in the heads, they have like a flat look to them. Like, what is that? Can somebody tell me what's happening? Should I gloss the whole thing? Should I try that? The brown ones were okay, and then the second pair, like that greeny, natural looking pair I did with the pastels, was my favorite. I think I might try and gloss the whole thing and see if that helps, because they kind of look dead in the eyes, you know what I mean? Like zombie, I don't know. Overall though, I don't think they were too bad for a first attempt. I think I could have done worse maybe. Next time I'm going to make my own more shallow eye bases with the ridges like kind of sculpted into them. And I'm going to stick with doing pastels as the base, but other than that, I'm pretty happy. If you're already subscribed to my channel, thanks so much for subscribing. If you're new here, I hope you like the content and will consider subscribing. As always, I hope you have a fantastic day. Bye!